Hello and welcome back to Boring Dad Gaming, where today we're going to be playing something a bit different. We're going to be playing a demo of a game that's coming out called Sovereign Syndicate. And what this is, it's... I played the demo, I was quite excited by it. It took me about an hour, so I'll try and do it in the one video here. But it's kind of like a cross between Disco Elysium and Arcanum of Magick and SteamWorks Obscura, if you remember that sort of old role-playing game from... I'm not sure, was it like the early or mid-noughties or something like that? It was very good. You got sort of different races. Like I think you play as a Minotaur in this demo. A lot of it's done through sort of conversation and sort of talking with your own mind with various aspects of your own sort of psyche, which is very Disco Elysium. But it's a little indie game, and I played the demo. I just thought it looked really, really good, so I thought I'd play it on the channel and maybe make a few more people aware of it. So we're going to start a new game here. Looks like there's going to be different chapters when the game does release, but we've got one called Atticus Awakens. Follow Atticus Daley as he explores the seedy underbelly of London's East Docklands in search of his mother, a reason for living, and his next fix. So it's said it's kind of set in Victorian London. People have said it's more redolent of sort of Dickensian London, perhaps, but you know, certainly. Not ancient fantasy, more sort of historical London. And there's a lot of slang from the period, which is quite fun. You can also hover over those to see what it actually means, because it's not always obvious. But here we're in character creation, so we get to pick something that our sort of starting personality. And you can adjust these as you play, actually. So... Temperance. He grew up in a crowded orphanage using his illusory magical abilities to disguise himself as humans. This is more of a magic class, it looks like. You got 5 conjuring in perks there. I will say that I didn't, in the bit of the demo I played, I didn't see a lot of instances where that sort of magical ability would be useful. I'm sure in the full game it will be very valid. My playthrough I went with this sort of wit, self-discipline, persuasion type character. With a sharp, it says here, a sharp mind and a silver tongue. Here we have Chariot, which is blaming his fiery temper on his Minotaur blood. He learned to intimidate his enemies and embrace the rush of combat. So this is more of a physical character, and I'm tempted to play this one because there seem to be, in the demo anyway, a lot of instances where that would be useful. And I failed quite a lot of those. And this is maybe more of a thief character, sleight of hand, surprisingly nimble. Yeah, so I'm going to go for the Chariot for this playthrough, so we'll confirm that. And this does have a very novel skill check system. It's not straight dice rolls. Well, it kind of is, but it's kind of mixed with a system he calls tarot cards. And it took me a little while to figure out exactly what was happening there, so I'll sort of explain it as and when that comes up. A dark shape looms over you. Against the guttering lamplight, the black-shadowed form hovers unsteadily like a cutout in a magic lantern. You can't be sure whether it's a real living thing or another grim manifestation from your week-long bender, which at first blush you appear to have survived. Or is this in fact death come to claim you? In any case, the spectre seems to be in no hurry to move along. Painful memories prick your gin-addled brain. Now you recall why you're here. You chose this alleyway in London's East End to drown the last of your days in drink. Well, if this apparition isn't the angel of death, then even at suicide you've failed. So as with Disco Elysium, you kind of start off having sort of internal monologue, so we'll start up with that. There's something called Old Crone, which does get a bit explained. It's a bit mysterious at the beginning, but it gets a little bit more explained as we go on. Old Crone.
Atticus, he's coming. Wake up.
Get out of my head, you old crone. I need to be more English, I think, don't I? Get out of my head, you old crone. Master Ranger. Atticus Daley. Sort of... Now does he know my name? His voice is cold and mechanical, like the hinge of a heavy iron door, concealing his identity, no doubt. So we can do a couple of checks here. If we highlight the Constitution one, you can see there's a 34% chance of doing it, which is pretty low. But Animal Instinct, it just looks like an automatic success, so let's do that. We get something called Yellow Bile, and if we click on our character portrait here, we can see that there's sort of 4 elements in our psyche. There's animal instinct, spryness, which is kind of like physical stuff. Animal instinct is sort of brute force, intimidation, that kind of thing. You can see here we've got a perk +5 intimidation. Self-discipline and wit, which is like intelligence checks. And you can see we're 1 out of 10 on yellow bile now on our animal instinct. And when this gets to 10, we'll be able to pick another perk for this. So you can level this up to increase your chances of passing skill checks, or just get different kinds of perks for different kinds of checks. It's quite interesting. And you can kind of level this up, these different psyche elements here, through dialogue, so that's quite cool. But we'll see more of this system as we play. We've just leveled up 1 in animal instinct there, we can see. He offers me a tin stippled flask. A small kindness. Well, let's take it eagerly. I've been hoping for the hair of the dog, but alas, it's only the chloric bite of London tap water. Got 10 vigour. So vigour is our health, and that's in this little heart down here in the bottom left. We're 50 out of, I don't know, something at the moment. The only way I found to heal in the demo was through speech checks. You can lose health in a lot of ways. And something called nerve, which is mental strength, I suppose, and that can also go up and down in speech checks and actions you do throughout the game. And so we're sort of half of both at the moment, say. So we hover over hair of the dog. We can see that means an alcoholic drink meant to cure a hangover. I think that's a fairly usual phrase, though. Bollocks! This Fancy Jack had better have something stronger. So Fancy Jack is a dandy, a blue blood. That's the guy who's standing over us at the moment. Stowing the flask, the stranger leans back in the dim light of the gas lamps. I can finally see his features in full. He wears a brass button travelling waistcoat, complete with a scarlet hood and a mask of ornate gold panels. It glitters in the gaslight, delicately crafted. His mask may be pretty, but it'd still stop a bullet. On your feet now, you sorry sight. Dizzy from the head rush, it's hard to keep my balance. Who are you, and what do you want with me? A friend in need of your services. A friend? But a man of his station so deep in the docklands spells trouble. Yeah, one social rank or position, we can see that. In need of my brawn, no doubt. Looking for someone to do his dirty work. I need a moment to gain my bearings, friend. Fair enough, but I'll be watching. The stranger pulls back his waistcoat, showing off a gilded flintlock pistol. Over the years, many a minge bag have come to collect. This balmy naff is no different. Minge bag, a despicable person. Balmy naff, someone lacking taste or style. Tacky. So many outstanding debts and foregone second chances. Oh, is it all catching up to me? So wit or spryness. And when we select one of these, it'll give us 1 point in the specified psyche element. So we'll go with spryness, I think. So as we're kind of a physical type character. You can try like all the others, but none have yet succeeded.
That just may be, but if you keep going on this way, it's only a matter of time.
Task started, the old crone. Let's have a quick look at that. It might explain a bit about what she's about. Here we go, the old crone. Find out who the crone is before she drives you mad. The chatter of my mind is enough by itself, and now there's a crone chiming in. What is she doing here? And how did she get into my head? Another time. Hold fast to your sanity is the to do there. Got a journal here that kind of just relays what you've been doing. I was awakened in my alleyway deathbed by a curious stranger with an ornate mask. No idea what he wants, but he's let me live for now. Right, so if we hit, I think it's tab, it will highlight usable items. So down here we've got a cane sword. Let's take that. An evening cane concealing a steel blade in a cherrywood sheath. Below the brass figurehead is a band of crushed velvet. Fine weapon, sturdy and well balanced, easy to wield, and suitable in aristocratic circles. Take it with us, definitely. There's a newspaper here, let's have a look at that. The Illustrated London News, this week's edition. A fleet-footed journalist takes to the East End underground and undercover. The hard-boiled scoop on the courtesan killer. Who's really behind the murders, and what is Scotland Yard still hiding from the public? Read on for the gory details. This story will boil your blood. Now, let's have a look at the news. So you can see we've got a black bile towards our wit score. As is the job, I suppose. But it's a shame. No one deserves to die like that. Let's go with Animal Instinct here. Maybe not, but they knew the risks. The East End is an unforgiving place. I'm not sure they had much of a choice in their vocation. There's always a choice, and I've made my share of bad ones. Even so, I turned out just fine. Perhaps I got lucky, or someone's watching over me. Bollocks, no one's done me any favours. Why should I go out of the way to help these women? Let's investigate the murders. Let's stick that in our case file. I'm no police special. That's a detective or special investigator, but I'll see what I can find. Cool, got a little quest from that. Let's have a little explore. Let's hit tab. So we can look at this wagon. Some wayward cartwright abandoned their wagon here. Beyond it, tenements and a dead end. Well, he's got me hemmed in. No matter, if the stranger wants a fight, I'll give him one. Get more yellow bile. A little hand-to-hand is a fine idea. It might snap me out of this slump I've been in. Even with the jitters, I can still aim a fist. There's a reason I'm known as a bruiser in the Docklands. Got one blood. So let's check in on our psyche then. So you can see we've got 4 out of 10 yellow bile now, working towards our Animal Instinct perk. No self-discipline, bit of spryness, so getting towards that, and a little bit of wit there. Oops. Here we go. Let's just do that. Right. Okay, is that barrel any different? No, it's part of the same thing. Let's have a look up these stairs. If you double-click, you will move faster as well. We're going to have a look at this herring basket. A slatted wooden basket made from hazel cuttings. Willow branches weave around the bottom for support. Why am I up here looking at a basket? Surely I have more important matters to attend to. I can smell the rotten fish from here. Several days past its prime. Lean in? Yeah, let's have a look. White strips of flesh swimming in a pool of decomposition. Kippered herring. A small oily fish that is salted or pickled, then cold smoked over smouldering wood chips. Got a constitution check. It's only a 34% chance, so I'm not minded to do that right now. Let's literally leave that alone. Right, there's a locked gate down here. Let's go and investigate that. A wrought iron gate topped with speared finials. There's an oxidized chain and a padlock over the hasp. Oh, it's a dimpled lock. No trouble for a cracksman who's been up and down the cobbles. So we've got a few skill checks here. We have a 97% chance of passing the fine motor skill. Brute force, a 97% chance of that too. Well, we're a bruiser, aren't we? Let's go with brute force, and we'll talk a little bit about how the skill checks work here. So, on the top right, we can see that our Animal Instinct score we know is 18. That's from our sort of character sheet over there. Fine motor, we don't have any perks in that, so that's +0. We're going to draw some cards, and that's currently a question mark. So the difficulty of this check is 15. But we have already got 15, so it's basically a 100% chance, but I think there is a card in the deck that can cause a fail. That's why it's not 100%. So if we click this, we're given 3 tarot cards here. Basically, for each of the 4 psyche elements, you get a deck of tarot cards, and you, when you do a check, you sort of draw a number of them. It can be 3, but there are sort of things that can influence how many you actually draw. At one stage, I was drawing 2. And then at one stage I was drawing 4 because I got a perk that allowed me to draw more cards, and you can also get perks that show you which are the high value cards as well. But we're going to pick one of these, and it will add a numbered modifier to this chance. We basically, unless we pick, I think it's the Joker, we'll pass the check. So let's just pick the middle one here. And it's a 14, so we've actually got a total of 29 for a 15 difficulty check. Working the cylinder with a dimple flag lockpick, the plug finally turns and the gate swings freely. That'll do. I wonder where it leads. Right, +1 blood. Away from that strange is enough for me. Right, let's go through to the warehouse, okay. The passage is lined with stone walls, damp from the evening fog, and the underground steam boiler used to heat the tenements above. Barrels line the walls and seem to occupy every available space in this underground storeroom. Cane rats scurry and squeak in the corners, kneading at their nests. The underground air is stagnant, full of dust and the scent of mould. A ways off there's the sound of a pump house at work, no doubt channeling sewage into the Thames. There's a dim light ahead. Perhaps you can find help, or at least a way out of the stranger's grasp.
On your guard now, there's no telling what's down here.
I've seen the worst of the underground in my days. If trouble comes, I've got my blade and a silver tongue. Right, quick to hit a tab. So there's a chest there, there's a guy on the ground here, sleeping thug. Let's click on him first. A 30-something cove, writhing on the cobbles. Must have had his fill. If he was on guard, easy now to get by him. We'll bash his head in. Might be safer that way. First playthrough, I did actually bash his head in. So I'm tempted to go the alternate route now with wit. Yeah, but he's harmless. Shickered beyond reason. Besides, maybe I know him. Can't say I remember his face, but that's one thundering night terror he's having. Alright, we'll leave him be. Anything in his pockets? Let's have a look. So, this is a 23 difficulty, so we've got a lower chance of succeeding here. But let's try it. So we got 15, so as long as we get an 8 or above out of these 3 cards, then we should pass it. But there's no knowing which one. So there's no knowing which one, so you might as well just pick randomly. We got an 8. Oh, so we passed it, I believe. 7 coins in our inventory. Rifling through his pockets, I fatten up my flat purse. He won't be needing it. Clearly he's burnt it all on the bottle. Right, let's have a look at wooden coffer over here. Red cedar panelled and cornered with iron. A sturdy but time-worn container. The lock's corroded. I can force it. Brute force. 72% chance here. So as long as we get 4 or above on... Oh. Why did that turn around? I don't know. I might have a perk playing into that. Or maybe it's a bug. I'm not exactly sure, but I can click on that and succeed the chance. I'm happy to do that. With a swift back elbow, the lock crumbles into iron filings. And there's only that gin bibber who might have heard the noise, and he's too blotto to pay us any mind. And what great treasure is this? It's a deal of fabric, trousers with a bib sewn across, and a brass pulley zipper to fasten the button. And here's a head torch with a polished tin reflector and a copper core battery, a pair of boots and breeches, a vest and a waistcoat, and enough pockets to carry a dining set. To be sure, it's a fit for a sandhog. So we'll highlight sandhog, which in this game is a construction worker in the underground tunnels. Let's try it on. So what if I tear the seams? It's not like someone's missing this pile of rags. Easing into the raiment, I draw up the back zipper until my elbows refuse to bend. Constitution, force it. 34% chance, so we need to get 10 or more here. Middle one? Oh, that doesn't look like a pass. The torso belts break from their loops. Oh, that's just him talking, isn't it? The torso belts break from their loops and my knees and elbows tear holes in the brittle fabric. The uniform's beyond repair, no way of wearing it, unless I've got a sewing kit on me. This could be a sign to lay off the swill a while. Nah, not necessary. I'm as fit as a fiddle. One must be ready to change. Yeah, enough maundering. Let's get on with it. Damn, I actually had that disguise in my first playthrough and it was quite useful. So this is going to be quite a different one. A disc of wrought iron loosened by a crack. Could be someone's hiding place. Aye, but the cover's bull heavy. Try to lift it. 46% chance. Or we could try and find a tool. Let's try and brute force it first. Oh, okay. It must be... We must have a... I'll check in a sec, but we must have a brute force perk that shows us one of the cards. Blood and bile twist in your veins. A show of unbridled strength. Well, let's see what's down here. There's a latched compartment below the manhole cover, but it's padlocked too tightly to break. Locked? Ugh, but there's surely a mound of tin inside. It's alright, quiet the mind. Don't slip into a mismaze, which is a state of distress and confusion. Let's come back later. Now, whatever it is must be worth a deal. I'll try and find a key. Mouldy crate over here. A battered crate mouldering in a sewer grime. Brute force, 100%. Let's do that. It caves in with a crack and a cloud of fetid dust. Don't cough, someone will come and beat the bushes. Okay, only got we need 8 or more. Yay, 11. Easy now, in through the nostrils. Any more looting like this and I'll need a face mask. If I meet another Minotaur, they might have a spare. Good lot of us live in the underground. Enough rumination, let's see what's in the crate. I can't hardly see what I'm reaching for, but here goes. Oh, nothing in here but a cold piece of metal. Oh, it's a pry bar, I can make good use of this. Right, let's see if we can go and use the pry bar on the manhole cover, maybe. Here's that compartment, latched and padlocked. Maybe there's something above the latch. My fumbling hands come up empty. How about I reach back in the corners? A sudden pain jots through my hand. There's a cane rat making a home down there. Minus 5 vigor, we lost health for that. 20% chance, it's probably not worth that. No, staunch the wound. Right, quick check a tab. Is there anything else to interact with here? I don't think there is. Watch it. There's somebody on the stairs. With that head torch, he could be on patrol, and I don't suppose he takes kindly to strange trespassers. I don't need to hide from anyone. His face is filthy, mud-streaked and unshaven, and the lamp on his helmet is near as bright as daylight down here. He smells worse than the sewer walls. Must be a bilgeman. A sewer worker below the status of an engineer.
Oi! What's a bovine doing down this way? You better scram before I call the hounds. You're trespassing.
The hounds, the dock hounds, I think that's a gang. Animal instinct, tell the truth, it'll scare him. Yeah. We've leveled up yellow bile. I'm running from a bounty hunter. A mortally unpleasant fellow, if you catch my meaning.
Fear of life loss, a common excuse.
For my sake, I wish it were otherwise.
It would explain your disposition in tattered waistcoat. What's the idea of having such finery only to let it run to rags?
String of bad luck, Saul. Don't know why I went American there.
Oh, I've been there. Anyway, I'm too busy to riddle with queer folk, even if they're trespassing.
Queer as in strange, I think it's used here.
Appreciated, and I promise not to fiddle with the pipes. Yeah, that'd be right and fly. Now, here's my advice if you're really on the run. Someone left an old uniform in the coffer upstairs next to the bloke supposed to be guarding the entrance. Comes with a head torch, and the one thing you need down here is light. Might make for a clever disguise.
Yeah, next to the gin bibber.
Aye, but you know what's out of pattern. I'm never so cheeky with a fellow I haven't met, but there's something flash about you. Any road, better get back to work.
That would be the costume we already destroyed, trying to force ourselves into it. But let's level up here. So we can see there's a little gear with a 1 next to Animal Instinct. So we click on that. We're given a choice of 3 perks. We could permanently increase this by 1, but it's pretty high already. Brute Force. All Brute Force skill checks gain an additional +3, which could be useful, but I think Brute Force, we already seem to be revealing a good card automatically. New Major Tarot. Maybe we'll take this and I'll kind of show what that means. All skill checks from the deck this card is bound to are made at +1. I'm going to take that, and then we'll talk about the Major Tarot. So if we come down to this on the bottom right, Tarot, we click on this. These are the decks of cards I mentioned that we're using for our skill checks. Swords, so this is our Animal Instinct checks, and we already have the Tarot, the Chariot linked to this. The Chariot, all skill checks in this deck is bound to will be drawn with 1 card revealed. Okay, so that's why we're revealing all these Animal Instinct checks, 1 card. That's useful. And now we can link our Death card to maybe this deck. All checks are made at +1. That's sort of like a physicality type deck. We seem to be getting quite a bit of that. So let's put that there. And we'll get other cards as well we can link to these, which will help our skill checks, hopefully. Let's just go back, because he did mention the head torch. I'm sure we didn't wreck the head torch. Maybe we can go and grab that. Try on the uniform? Oh, okay. Alright, did we do this again? So what if I tear the seams? It's not like someone's missing this pile of rags. I get to force it again. Need a 10. Hey! Nice. Just gotta force it. Emptying my lungs, so I abandon the brass buttons, reaching instead for the torso belts. They fasten at the very last punch hole. You can see our pictures change now. We sort of squeezed ourselves into this uniform. Oh, we've already done this. I'm not necessarily as fit as a fiddle, me. Let's get on with it. The uniform comes with a mask and air filter, but the mouthpiece is a terrible fit for a Minotaur. Not exactly worthy of Petticoat Lane, but in the shadows it should do the trick. Right, we're disguised now, and that is going to help. Let's carry on through the sewer. There's a steamer trunk here. Let's have a look what that is. A brass-banded travelling trunk with sturdy corners, fit for a long voyage. It's out of place down here. There's tin inside, I'm sure of it. But the padlock has a carbon steel shackle and pin numbers triple reinforced. Fine motor, we could try and pick the lock, but it's very low chance of success still. Give it a go. We can see the in the calculations here that our death card that we've added to the tarot deck is giving us a +1 on this deck, so that's cool. Still a very low chance of doing it. Yeah, even that 10 wasn't enough. Yeah, this isn't going well. Tumbers hardly have any give. Tosser. Yeah, that mechanism's totally jammed now. I'll have to break it open. And why not? That bilgeman's gone now, nothing else to worry about, is there? Breaking it open, 43% chance. Well, that's a bit better. And we've got the 1 revealed. So we don't want to pick that. So one of the other 2. Hey, we've got the 10. This place seems pretty empty. I don't think the noise will draw attention. Channeling the sum total of my physical strength into a single strike, the hilt of the cane sword thuds pitifully into the hardwood. Another strike to the brass deadbolt does nothing. Good show now, I've asserted myself. +5 nerve. We're losing health, incidentally. Balmy old trunk. Must be a good stash if I can't get inside. I'll hone my skills and come back with a better tool. So even with that successful check, we couldn't open it. I have a crowbar. Just says there's no way to open it at the moment. Okay. Automaton.
Speak up. Who disrupts the air?
Who disrupts the air? Speak up. 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 Who disrup
hello there. As you can see, I'm a sandhog. Blood's levelled up. So, you know, I'm just heading down to the tunnels.
That's right, and fly. Haven't met a sandhog I didn't like. My name's Hera.
The letters Hera are emblazoned on its chest plate. Now, what do the letters stand for then?
Heat Energy Regulation Automaton, the latest iteration.
Hera, wife of Zeus. Yeah, in any case, it suits you.
I'm thrilled to hear it. Now, can I help you? I should get back to the flame. Ask for information.
This area reeks the dockhounds, even worse than the sulphur and bilge. What's going on?
Aha, you must have noticed these barrels. They're really quite capital. The hounds are distilling their own gin from the heat off my boiler, and somehow the Sherlock tenements upstairs haven't caught on.
Those people must be freezing. It's only autumn now, but it feels like midwinter. I think for our carriage, I'd rather have the extra gin. Brings down the price. And we can always deal with a little cold. A lot of my ilk came up from those tenements. The hounds might be bargained with, and it's not as if the public houses will run dry. We'll have a deal of persuasion on our hands. Ask about the barrels. What else do you know about the gin barrels?
The steam gets siphoned and the barrels come and go. Some are flesh, and some are fresh, and some have stood for several months, ready for a swiller. An excessive bout of drinking. The machine is keeping track. Automatic circuits, indeed. When the flame is healthy, I turn my attention to the walls, and before I know it, I'm wearing away. It's a queer feeling.
How about a good barrel of moonshine, eh?
Behind the furnace there's something of a staging area. That's where the barrels get carried out. Have a look for yourself, but I must get back to work. Anyway, I don't think he was referring to the steamer trunk, but maybe... back at barrel of moonshine. Here we go. What can I do with this? A barrel like any other, standing upright. Looks ready for shipping out.
Oh, this'll take the edge off. My hands are shaking. I'm tapping this barrel. The gin hits my belly and the taste is... delicious. That's what I call bootleg. And there's that hazy aura I wanted, as if every object could bloom at any moment.
+5 vigour. Okay, we healed a bit with that.
No, that's enough. I only wanted a taste.
Yeah, we won't do it to excess then. Go to sewers, okay. Edging through the grate, you're greeted by the droning sound of rushing water, and a smell that's near unbearable, hanging in the air so thick you can almost taste it. Hooves are clumsy in the dark as you stumble along the passageway, the sound of water flow and machinery echoing off the bricks from all directions, a meshing of gears that's familiar, but unsettling. Following the light, you come into a torchlit chamber, but it seems you're not alone. Notes of troubled voices peek over the noise, an air of indignance and irritation, but also of fear and desperation. Something's not right here. You've stumbled on an argument, no doubt, but worse than that is a deep foreboding. Something else shares these sewers, a deeper evil crawling through the bowels of London. Okay, what's coming out of here? Blocked passage, what's that? A welter of bricks and rotting planks blocking the way through. No sense dulling your cane sword for this. Yeah, we've got a path here though. There's an intriguing area down here, but I never did find a way to get into it. It might just be set dressing. Something over there though. It looks like there's no way through, but you can actually walk on these sort of narrow bits here. There's a guy walking around down there. Let's go this way first.
Through the hall is a chorus of machinery, the torpid cranks of some heavy clockwork, the chittering of a telegraph, and the ever-present rumble of steam in the walls.
The archway is fit with the blast door that's been left open, a control room for the pump house, no doubt. needles shake from the pressurized steam in the brass pipes.
Damn it, Sandog. Could you back off the panels? I'm busy here.
He has a grizzled face and a world-weary glaze to his eyes, yet there's still a spark in his quick and efficient movements. Yeah, we have a much higher chance of intimidation. 75%.
Listen up, shovel logger. I've got a few questions.
Well, this is a success.
Well, if you insist, what's on your mind?
Very low chance about the barrels. Let's ask about the argument.
Seems to be a girl in distress down below. What do you know about it? Not much, but I do wish they'd settle it.
He's gone Cornish now.
She's been grizzling nearly an hour. I hardly hear myself think.
Very low chance of that. Quite low chance of this, but higher.
I recognise a familiar despair in her voice, maybe because I came up as an urchin myself.
Yeah, very low chance of us doing that.
Do you know how many street urchins have robbed me at knife point? No doubt it's a shame, but the girl can handle herself. Let's ask someone else. What's that locker? It's nothing sacred. A man keeps a few personal items on hand.
He turns his back to the switches, muttering to himself.
I want to ask you something else.
Let's ask about the barrels. Hey, low chance, but we did it.
I'm well versed in liquors and I smelled something pure in the barrels on my way down. Bootleg, perhaps.
He narrows his eyes and his thin lips curl into a smirk. It's a craving I know too well.
Yeah, that's an idea and it's downright inspiring. See now, what's your name? Atticus Daley.
I don't know why I go American sometimes.
Pleased to meet you. I'm John Teller. Pleasure's all mine. Say, I've got it figured. Minotaurs have keen noses, so you must have sniffed out the liquor in my locker. It's the same as in the barrels upstairs.
He chuckles in giddy anticipation.
Go on then, Special Detective of Moonshine. Fetch a few bottles from the locker. I'll finish my readings and we'll have us a fizz.
Alright, got permission to get in here now. A wooden locker with steel dowels and bolts embossed with the seal of the senior service.
And apparently chock full of bottles. Go on, he offered you a drink.
It'd be rude to refuse.
Oh, let's see if this liquor's any good. Oh, it's packed to the gills. He might be more garrulous if I have a drink with him. I'll take 2 bottles then. One for me and one for Teller.
So we've got some gin in our inventory now. Let's go on our character sheet because we've actually got this spryness that we can level up. So again, we could increase it permanently by 1. Fine motor skill checks get an additional +3, or we can add the Hermit to our Major Tarot. While bound, all skill checks draw 1 fewer card to a minimum of 1. Now I had that before, and I suppose it's a 50-50 chance of succeeding a check as opposed to a 1 in 3 sometimes, but I don't know. I'm going to gain... let's go fine motor skills +3. Okay.
There's a good man. Let's have a taste.
Have a drink.
To your health, Teller.
See, there's stuff going on there. Drinking some gin.
Oh, what do you think then? Oh, it's delicious. The flavour's ripe. A banquet for the senses. That's the spirit. Alright, let's have another.
Getting gradually less steady. It's like a dream, my. Another glass.
One more. I'll be damned, that's quite good.
Black bar level up.
Careful, I still need to find my way out of here. Wouldn't do well to be lost and intoxicated.
Alright, we're gonna stop.
We're one of a piece then, eh? We've got this purity from a ramshackle distillery. Coppers tend to bust him up before anyone has a chance to hone it down. This beyond wonderful. No words to describe it. The only medicine that ever did me any good. Purveyors of fine gin don't get enough credit. I've been watching how the hellhounds are doing it, and I get along well with the pump house captain. When the work is slow, we have a couple of drinks in the pump house, and I marvel at the great shining vats. If I only had the capital to start my own distillery. There's a dreamy glow in his eyes. I've learned how to make this healing elixir. If I just had the tin and the gumption, I'd pull up stakes and leave these dials to some mother cove. If I had my own skills, I'd make up a liquor so pure and delightful, mothers use it to feed their babes. This is getting strange. Better get a hold of myself. A dream's only a dream till you follow it. Aye. Teller gives me a gin-shot look, his eyes roomy and distant. I wouldn't worry over the cards you've been handed, but with a lighter heart, thanks to the bottle, I'd say you can set your mind to anything, and it's worth the effort even if it ends bitterly. Bloody Jehovah, that's wise for a Minotaur. Anyway, do you want to hear about that ruddy ladsman? A criminal teaching children how to steal in exchange for a cut of profits and or other assistance such as safe lodging. He's referring to the quarrel down below. He and the young girl, what's there to tell? Well, she's a cut purse, what's supposed to be his charge, seeing as he taught her the criminal trades. Now she wants independence. The engineer shudders with a mix of fear and loathing. That bastard's full of demons. And he's just a ladsman, but he's also the front man for the bootlegging down here, so whatever he says might be as well be royal decree. Maybe I can help. What else do you know about him? Well, I've got his name. Carl McGrady. He puts it on the bottles for promotion. Maybe someday I'll have a proper license. Anyway, I'd say McGrady is only a handle, an assumed name. McGrady, why does that sound familiar? Then again, I guess I could tell you his blackest secret. Spit it out then. It starts with the Sherlock tenements. As if they didn't have it hard enough, built over a sewerway. The hounds have been siphoning steam from their boilers. Ah, for the bootleg. Making moonshine takes a deal of steam. It's no wonder the tenements are up in arms. Hot water running thin, radiators shot through on the coldest of nights. Reminds me of the orphanage. We used to burn the bedposts when the cold set in. So you know the score? Now wait a moment. You ain't no copper's narc. I can't stand coppers. Glad to hear it. One more question. How about the crank atop the stairs? What's it do? Controls the sluice gate, raising and lowering the water down below, but it's a peaky bastard. Jams up all the time. Good thing I won't need it until the pump house is up and running again. Move along. Well, Mr. Teller, I've kept you long enough. Take care now, and don't tell anyone I gave you a free sample. Okay. Right, let's go. Don't think there's anything more we can play with the crank, but I know from experience that I can't move it yet. I never did solve that puzzle, by the way. I might have another go while I'm here. I'm going to have to talk to this guy now. If not the single lens on his mask, then it's the preternatural length of his arms and legs. A cyclops with a pike blade, standard issue for sewer work. Oi, Sandhog, what's your business here? None of your concern. Now clear out before I bash you in the goggle and you lose what little sight you have. So we need 4, so we'll take that 6, thank you. You can't be serious. You know I'm the pump house captain. I couldn't be more serious, and you better let me by unless you'd like to get mixed up with the bounty man who's chasing me. There's recognition now. He'd like to avoid a brush with a blackguard. Well, explains your disposition. People come up missing all the time, but we're all locked down for maintenance here. No way out but the way you came. Alright, well, at least we can get past him. Let's give it a look at the barrel. A barrel perches on the ledge while the argument rages. Looks like it could come to blows at any moment. So that's McGrady down there. Ugly mug, aye. Aye, but who's the girl and what's she got in her hand? Knowing he's a dockhound, I should hope it's a weapon. Let's eavesdrop. Let's have a listen.
You'll pad me pockets until I say die.
Gaunt-faced and lanky, he's clearly a human, but his yellow eyes would fit within the face of a reptile. His waistcoat and worsted trousers are torn and sullied, but his white silk string tie is spanking new. It's like the engineer said, this bloke is a ladsman and she's a cut-purse, but she doesn't seem keen on staying that way.
I'm sick of stealing and I'm sore of begging all the more. It's shameless.
The sandy-haired girl wears a frayed wool jumper and a gentleman's duster, shortened at the hem to account for her stature.
Ungrateful nipper, you bite the hand that feeds.
What have you fed us but lies? Try and tell you what little tin I have, but you'll have to get past my stiletto.
Pity, but the odds are in his favour. Poor girl's got strapping tape holding her boots together.
Okay, well, we're going to go and break it up. It's a self-discipline thing. So a quick check on our psyche. Have we got anything else to let Reggie level up? We actually have wit can level up. The Magician, while bound, all skill checks are drawn with the lowest value card highlighted. And this is what I had in the last playthrough, and it's really good. We'll see how it works in a minute, but basically... Can I do the tarot now? I can. Bind it anywhere, so it doesn't matter where we put it, we'll stick it here. And when we do the next skill check, it'll actually show us which is the lowest value card highlighted.
Too far off to be of service from here. Better go downstairs and break this up.
Alright, come on, let's get down there. They're still arguing, but move any further and they'll notice me.
There's a door just beyond where they're standing. That'd be one way to escape this ruddy mess. I'll have to face him sooner or later.
He looks ready for a fight.
Self-discipline. I'll wait for the right moment. No need to flash the steel if I don't have to.
I know how to settle this. How about an inside tip? You know I'm well in with the oddsman.
Okay. The girl sees me clearly, but pretends not to notice, preserving my chance for a surprise endeavour. She seems to trust me, an absolute stranger, over this ruddy lout.
Keep your crooked tips. You were supposed to shelter us, pay us and protect us. Now the better part of our band has disappeared and you know nothing of it. Piss on your pit fights. I'm bound for the country. There's a future for me beyond London.
You got that much right. You'd make a better wastrel than a thief.
And what help you've been? You've pissed away all the tin I might have saved.
Stupid girl, there's only one way you'll get out of London. It's cut to pieces floating down the Thames.
She flashes her eyes at me. Some kind of signal? One dash of my blade. We've got a 70% chance of doing this. Let's click on this. So we've highlighted the 8 as we know because of our vigor check. Not our vigor check, but you know, our whatever this is. Animal instinct check. And this is the lowest card drawn. So we know this is a low card, but we know this is going to succeed us anyway. So we're pretty good at those checks now.
He's done more than enough. One dash of my blade will set him straight.
Dear Christ, I'm wounded. Someone with a cheap trick dispatch me. Please, I'll pay whatever you're after. Just fetch a physician.
What does she want to do?
What should we do with him?
Revenge is always better served cold. Let's see if a doctor can't save him. Meanwhile, I'll plan for his lasting punishment.
Agreed. I'll let you handle it. You know him better.
Oh, but you were right, little miss. No need to seek me out. I've learned my lesson well enough. I'll be asking after you. For now, just run along if you still can. Oh yes, little miss, I'll have a doctor stitch me up, and it's straight to confession. Penance for every crime, I can promise you that. Didn't think you'd ever sound more pitiful, but here we are.
McGrady gets to his feet and hobbles out of sight.
Thank you for your assistance.
I'm used to his type, stirring up trouble with nothing to back it.
My name's Annika Johansson.
Pleased to be acquainted. I'm Atticus Daley.
That miserable lout did show us how to make a living, but with the years I've grown wiser. There was never any future for us, so I've got a mind to take on with a travelling circus. They ferry the Channel and tour all of Europe.
I used to love the circus when I was a young runaway. I was smaller then, could sneak in through the back fence where the animals were kept.
Not sure if I love it, but it seems to be a way out.
What's your talent then?
Throwing knives.
Where the wheel is spun and a living target is skillfully avoided.
Oh, what about London? What are you leaving behind?
There's nothing here for me now.
A sadness in her voice like a heavy rain at sea, damp and in the bones. Apologies for the dog.
I practiced my knife tricks with Bertram till he disappeared, and now I don't know whether to stay here and make sure he's alive, or else take the only chance I may ever have to leave the city.
Bertram, close friend?
My best in the city. If he's alive, I'd like to say goodbye. Of course, there are many ways to say goodbye, but I can't be sure my letters from abroad will ever reach him.
If you don't get to the bottom of it, you might regret it forever. Advice I should have taken myself. No, I refuse to dwell on the past. There's nothing but dredge up heartbreak.
Sir, you were drifting off there?
No, it's been happening lately, but my physique makes up for my cognitive shortcomings.
I know it's a lot to ask. Is there any chance you'd help me find Bertie? Oh, he went missing along with his sister Julie.
Accept. The case of the missing orphans.
Not sure what help I can be, but I'll do my best.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Daley. It isn't much, but take these cogs for your trouble.
Kindness from a stranger. It's given her a hope she hadn't bargained for.
I'll see what I can find for myself, and then I'll meet you with... and we can share information, like police specials.
I'll make a fine detective now that I think about it.
Oh, it's wonderful having your help. Bertram and I were living down here, but now the water's too high to get to our hidey hole. With so many of us going missing, I'd better move on anyway.
What about this hidey hole?
We had a little safe house behind the retaining wall, but now with the pump house being serviced, the water's too high to get there. I can't afford to wait around. Not if Carlisle. Some other bastards, if not Carlisle, some other bastards on my trail.
I'll see about draining the water.
Thanks, but who knows where I'll be by that time. You're welcome to anything we left in there. It won't be safe for me to come back for it. Who knows where I'll end up, but maybe you have an address.
Take my visiting card if you need to get in touch. I'm not home often, but you can always leave a message with Anne Selina in the shop below my quarters.
Of course, Mr. Daley. Together I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of this.
Locked door. A monstrous door of high carbon steel. No way through without a key or a high explosive.
Oh, bellend. If only it was open.
Expletive signifying contempt. Must lead to an even murkier chamber.
Dreary and dangerous. Just my cup of tea.
In any case, it's a dead end, and the masked fellow's waiting upstairs.
If he could extract me from a 20-league gin sleep, then he must already have had my number.
No escape from the stranger this way. You'll need a key for the door.
Oh, crone. Right.
There's a flask here. Somebody hid a bottle back here. Looks like a nostrum, which is a type of medication.
Smells rather dangerous, at least to the inexperienced. It might be useful.
Alright, so I'm not going to stretch it out really. I'm assuming that it's something that maybe in the full game you can get access to other areas that might get something that you need for this puzzle, but I was never able to pull the crank and lower the water in this demo. It just, there's not really anything to interact with, to be honest. So, where am I going? Where am I going? I can go there, can't I? Yeah. Yeah, so rather than aimlessly walking around trying stuff, I'm just going to leave, because I'm going to assume that it's something you can do in the full game when it's released, but it's not available at this moment. So let's go back the way we came. The end of your escape route came as an iron door. There's nothing for it now but to face the music and hope that ruddy stranger has it in him to spare you. Clouded and socked in again by the dust, it's hard to imagine a strategy that amounts to more than impulse. Armed as he is, you'll have to get your hands on his weapon. No mean feat, even if you were in top condition. Part of you wants to resign to your fate, to fall asleep without a care of ever waking up. Climbing the steps and sliding through the grate, you're blasted again with the heat of the furnace. A life spent sleeping on the cobbles, adrift. You're used to being shocked by the facts of your environment. It's up to you. Give up the ghost of the stranger, or convince him that you still have a reason for living. Yeah. So, we'll just head back the way we came. So there's obviously stuff that you can come back and do at a later date, maybe. Yeah, as I said, maybe when you're able to move into more areas, there's stuff to do that can open up those manhole covers and chests and doors and everything. There was no escape in the sewers, only more danger you've narrowly avoided. But there's nothing so ghastly as what might become of you at the hands of the stranger. You hardly ever see a handheld firearm in the Docklands. That means he's come from afar to track you down, and he won't give up easily. And what of this old crone mumbling in your mind? Will another gin slumber put a seal on her words, or is she now more than a figment? Is she in step with your pulse and your heartbeat, so deeply rooted that you might never escape her raspy chattering? By the break of morning you should have some answers. Until then you stumble on the cobbles, half woken, the hangover clawing your skull like a prisoner in bondage. Alright, we're back here, so let's proceed down in this direction. Oops, a pile of junk there. Mechanical odds and ends shimmering in the gaslight. Worth a little tin if you deal them to an engine man. Gather the gears. 1 cog. Okay, I think that's kind of like a, not currency exactly, but something that is of value to sell perhaps. It's an electric fence. Military grade, reinforced with barbed wire. The sign reads, Werewolf Containment Zone, in luminescent paint. Electric bolts arc between the fence posts, the smoky ozone scent flooding your nostrils. With the full moon still a few days off, it might be safer inside, instead of at the whim of this stranger in his brocade waistcoat. Is that brocade? Is that how you say that? Mechanisms, no harm in a look. 55% chance. Okay. So we know that's a low card, so that's good. So we've got one of these cards as a chance of a pass. Let's do this one. Yeah, we did it. Silk-wrapped cables running into a switchbox. That must be the power source. I'm no engineer, but I might be able to power down the fence from that switchbox. There's this one over here. A battered metal switchbox secured by a chain and padlock. Ooh, find motor's pretty good, or 100% chance of brute forcing it. With the pry bar. Good, well we'll do that. So, I mean, it doesn't even matter. Even if we pick the low card, we've succeeded that. Buddy, that did it. Now, just cut the power and hop the fence. That'll put some acres between me and the stranger. Oh, but if I clip the wrong cable, I'm hot-caked on the cobbles. Imagine the sparks. Mechanisms can't be that hard to cut the current. Pull the red wire, aye? 50% chance, let's do it. Okay, so that's a low card. So we need 8 or better. 9. There we go. I tear out the red wire, but nothing seems to happen. Come back with an engineer, or at least someone with a road roller, which is a steamroller, who can tear a hole in this troublesome fence. Okay, we'll leave that for now. Oh, there's a missing poster here. Julian Bertram O'Brien, orphans missing from Sacred Heart Orphanage. Small reward furnished upon any information leading to their safe return. Please have a heart for our poor children. The Sisters of the Sacred Heart, 22 Cherrywine Lane, East End, London. Alms accepted. These are the poor children Annika mentioned. A brother and sister gone missing from where he was brought up. Being an orphan myself, should I be the one to investigate? There are unsettled spirits in the Docklands, and like it or not, I play a part in their pageantry. Hopefully not as some marionette with strings to pull for their amusement. I won't stand to be manipulated. Right, let's search for the missing orphans. Something's not right here, and the orphans of the Docklands need all the help they can get. Cool, so that's another quest added. Let's have a quick look at our thing. And we do have an animal instinct we can upgrade here. While bound, if a face card is chosen during a skill check, gain 3 nerve. Well, that's not bad. Increase our health by 10. Or increase our attribute by 1. I'm going to go for the 10 max figure, I think. Right, well, I don't think there's anything through here to interact with. And down here, all we've got left really is the mysterious stranger who woke us up. Oh, there's some more gears and cogs there. Tell a lie. Spare parts for the machines glittering in the gas lamps. Handy for small repairs and worth a few bob to an engineer. I'll take that. 4 of those now. So we'll check our inventory. I haven't really found a way to do much with the inventory, honestly. So we've got a couple of bottles of gin, we've got that laudanum, we've got a pry bar. The gears are actually added to this sort of tally up there with our currency, so that's interesting. Pressing down tab, nothing's highlighting. There's nothing really to do here apart from talk to the stranger again. He's waiting with a cold stare and a hand on his flintlock. All done mucking about down there? About time. How do you know that? This ridiculous sandal uniform, no doubt. How do you like the finery? It might have served you down there, but it's not permissible where we're going. Does he ever lighten up? Right then, you ruddy sight, let's get going. We'll need you batting on a full wicket. A phrase from the game of cricket, meaning at full capacity. He reaches my arm as if to drag me along. Shall I let him ragdoll me around East London? Not a chance. Right, we only need a 5, and we know that's a low card, so let's go this one. 7. With my stature, I should get the best of him. It's like a little cartoon playing out there. Still, it's a question of speed and dexterity. Stomping on his toes, I make a pass for his handgun. But he swats me away like I was a child. You can't shake me off, I'm not one of your debts. A soldier's cold and steely gaze, he must have seen combat. Scores of bodies like I can't imagine. It's a Richter's curse, the blood is hardly pumping in my veins as the fight leaves my body. Minus we lost 10 health for that. Alright, that's enough. I can see I've met my match. I'm glad we understand each other. Try persuasion. Where are you taking me? Oh, no. He merely grunts and snatches up my arm again, ready to lead me off. We lost 5 nerve for that. My head hangs low like a man condemned, but I'd rather not suffer any more than I have to. Whatever he's planning, I'll find out soon enough. There's no time for dawdling. Bad end, he hasn't got any conscience. If it seems like London left you behind, humour me for the evening. Otherwise I'll deliver the bounty on your head, and I won't have wasted any time. Your headache rages with a fierce second wind, and every step is a hammer and nail in your psyche. The stranger's reckless pace only makes matters worse, his arm like a vice grip, dragging you down a maze of twisted alleys, until at last a string of paper lanterns appears. Boys in a sickening sea of night, the cherry glow of Red Lantern Lane. Within waves of jasmine and sandalwood incense, memory washes fear away. This might be the only place that could convince you to keep on living, even just for a night. The gas mantle above the door fills you with fondness, cleansing the rust of your mind-gouging hangover. You've arrived at the Red Lotus Den, the only place you've ever felt at home. No need to be pulled along now. You go willingly inside. Happy now? Body aches, persistent nausea. From a physical standpoint, I'm barely holding together. Allow me to rephrase. Have you ever been happy? Can't say that I have. I've gone close to it here. Withdrawals, they can muddle our heads and make us weak. Don't worry, you'll feel better soon. poke around here. Changing area. Towels and bathrobes disarrayed in cubbies. Away from prying eyes. A fine place for my illusion. That bounce at the back bar is a centaur. I'd better look human. If I want to avoid confrontation, that is. Alright, well, we have a 29% chance of casting our illusion. So we'll try to give it a go. Let's go for this one. Ooh, no. Not quite enough. Sight from the fire. Hearing from bloody hell. Focus. Confound it. Didn't quite take. We'll try again if it's not too exhausting. 50% chance this time. Okay, we'll try that. Nope. Maybe we'll try one more time. %100% chance this time. It's feeling sorry for us. Okay. What? How do we fail 100% chance? Oh my god. Oh, we're back to a 35% chance. It's not... I don't think it's hurting us. I'm going to continue till we do this. Oh, 100. Okay, that's an automatic success. Good. Sight from the fire, healing from the ether, smell from the air, and taste from the water. Touch down to the earth in another form. I lost 5 nerve. Never seen our bouncer before. Let's play it safe. So we've disguised ourselves as what looks like a werewolf dandy. Aye, centaurs don't tend to like minotaurs. Might get his knickers in a twist if he sees one. Alright, so let's carry on to this area. There's a bath there. A steaming bath awaits your tired bones. Wouldn't it be good to get cleaned up? Yeah, let's take a bath. +10 vigour, +10 nerve, +3 blood. Very nice. How about not smelling like vomit and cane rats? Oh, we shan't offend the ladies. Right, well, we'll level up this, a couple of these things then. Spryness. So here we have another Major Terror. Well bound, all skill checks are drawn with 1 additional card, and I'm not quite sure what the benefit of that is, but let's take it. Maybe there's more chance of pulling a higher card if you draw more cards, maybe? Stick it in the old tarot. There we go. Good. Bit of healing, always nice. Don't really do much apart from... we talked to the bouncer. The centaur leers, his misshapen chin a shelf for his cigarette, jutting from an angle of bad teeth. His bare chest is stricken with psoriasis, and the scaly rash reddens his pock-marked cheeks.
Didn't see you come in. How can I help? Entrance to the Lotus, please. I'll have to check the list. Now, where did Bixby say it was?
Out trots Mr. Browncoat, surely come to see what the fuss is about. He has a distinguished, long-faced countenance, sporting a gold pocket watch and lavender-tinted pince-nez, with octagonal frames settled low on his aquiline nose. Despite his careful preening, the turbulence of a life lived in the margins shows on his face. Oh, now here's Atticus. He's happy I've arrived in human form, though he knows it takes a lot of energy. Glad to see you, Bixby. And you as well, Atticus. I'm glad to see you've brought us a brand new customer. Huh. Now then, paradise awaits behind the curtain. Bixby ushers you through the door and leads the way down the back stairs, the stranger on your heels like a stubborn shadow. The Red Lotus is draped in a haze of pale smoke, dotted with flickering candles and incense glowing like cinders in the night. The smell of burning opium is dark and rich, like a batch of overdone biscuits, with a sharp, fishy afterbite. Ooh. The pale red glow from the Chinese lanterns paints the space in perpetual twilight. It's easy to lose track of time within these walls, whiling away your days in a blissful waking dream. Okay, what's this little chap, this little fellow? What's that gear-clattering racket? A jet of steam cuts through the quiet of the den. Well, bugger off, you brass bucket. Okay, well that's an automatic success, so we'll do that. Yeah, that's done it. It's ready to blow a gasket.
Sorry there, didn't mean to startle you.
Off it goes, heading for the private section. Sunken area, what's this? The floor pit has benches with tufted upholstery and pillows costing a halfpenny an hour. It's so late that even the addicts have gone home. Just before sunup is the only time the Red Lotus is empty. Incense pot, interact with that. Sticks of heady incense waft in the air, always burning no matter the flow of customers. Bookshelf. A sturdy yet musty old bookshelf. The spines show such titles as Arcane Magic on the Eastern Edge of Ruin, Opium Through the Ages, and parlour games Love in the Dreamtime. Couldn't there be a secret door behind it? Worth a look. 3% chance. That one. Nah, we needed an insanely high roll on that. Searching high and low, I can't see anything but old tomes. Dwarf and automaton. Evening, stranger. Oh, he's probably more Scottish, isn't he? Evenings. No, we'll get there. The dwarf has a warm and amiable look with the sort of lucid blue eyes I couldn't stay angry at. His gaze is so sharp and clearly intelligent that I find myself intrigued. Below his crystal blue eyes is a broad nose and a red moustache, so full that it just might crawl off his face and build a cocoon. His beard is as red as a skinned rabbit, braided and brass-ringed in the common style. I fingered the brass ring in my own goatee. It's stringy and coarse compared to his elegant bristles. How'd you do? Is that no? I don't know. Just fine. Some kind of inventor, are you? Aye, name's Theodore Redgrave, Brotherhood of Boffins. But call me Teddy. Most people do. I've abandoned the Scottish idea. No clue what a boffin is. Some kind of magician? That rickety thing just about scared me witless. Ooh, bless my beard. Sorry about that. Your automaton. Has it got a name? Oh, this here's Otto. Doesn't care for strangers, but you can't really blame him. Part of his programming. Silly giving names to a machine, if you ask me. Teddy laughs it off. He seems used to such comments. Now that you're acquainted, what can I call you, sir? Atticus Daley. Teddy pats the automaton with his fat paw. Mr. Daley, from the both of us, it's a pleasure. Otto's going to need some tweaks before the brawls, but we'll have him fit as a fiddle by then, eh? Otto's a brawler, eh? So far he's only watched from the sidelines, but someday he'll fight with the other battle traps. See, I'm a hunter of fell beast and monster. After the werewolf fights, those outlaw wretches are tatterdemalion, or whatever that means, beat up and worn out. Much easier to take in for a bounty. Only 3 days ere the moon is full bellied. Better to have a good mind who you're betting on. This kind of occupation must never be a dull moment. That's true. I just knew you were a man of culture. Come to think of it, a statue like yours could make for an opportunity. Would you have an interest in joining my docket? I could pay you handsomely, of course. Yeah, wouldn't mind getting my knuckles bloody at the right price. Take my visiting card and we'll meet up before the moon is up. Well, I'm pleased to be acquainted. I'll come soon. Wait a moment. If I had a little scrap to sell, would you be interested? Sure, those cogs are worth a bit of sterling. We can sell the cogs we've collected. Alright, well, that's fine. Take care, Teddy. Right, there's not much more to do now apart from talk to the stranger in the private booth. Lattice wooden screens and high-backed seating provide some comfort and privacy for those that can afford it. The booths are made of a luxurious calf leather, well-oiled and plush with dimpled riveting. Delicate china and exclusive menus of the den's offerings are available for those of a more discerning taste. Seems you're in for a treat on account of the stranger's pocketbook, as fat as a Christmas goose. Let's show a little restraint. Still, I'd like to know what his motive is. Why invite me here? Self-discipline. He could have already killed me and collected all my bounty, but he didn't. I guess I should hear him out. Flem's level up. Let's quickly do that before we go carry on. The Fool. I think he's... we haven't seen the Fool yet. But we're only 10 in this self-discipline, so let's actually raise the attribute by 1 on this time. Yeah, so we can see it's gone from 10 to 11.
It's worth seeing what he's after.
She's still chiming in as if she had some kind of preferential status. Alright, well, let's get on with this.
The menu is embossed with an array of oral morphines, liquid and powder, cocaines, and many strains of midnight oil, meaning opium.
Teddy seems an interesting chap, and the automaton is quite something, isn't it? Bugger the small talk, why'd you bring me here? We've got plenty of time for explanations. Why don't we start with a sample of some of the den's wares? Now we're talking. Perhaps this fellow's not so bad after all. With so many dear poisonous variations, it's hard to decide what will hit the spot. I must say I'm impressed with your discretion. I would have thought just any fix would do. Thanks, I suppose, but I know it's not from the kindness of your heart. We'll see if you sing the same tune when it's said and done. Now then, while you think about the entree, I'll prepare the appetizer. He takes a small tablet out of his shirt sleeve, cracks it in half and drops it into the teacup. The other half goes into his own. Homemade remedy, eh?
Oh, Black Bar's leveled up. Let's have a look at that. We've had quite a few mechanism skill checks. It might be nice to have a +3 in that.
Not to worry, I wouldn't kill us both now, would I? Besides, I could have done you in already if I wanted to. Well then, cheers to not killing anyone.
20 vigour, +20 nerve and +1 blood. Good, so we're getting healed up down there quite nicely at the moment.
The drug tea restores my spirits instantly. It took me ages to perfect this remedy. I'm not much for cocaine myself, but when it's blended with the turmeric and the resin of myrrh to bind the capsule, that ghastly teeth-gnashing anxiety's gone, leading just to euphoria. Seems as strange as no stranger to drugs. The pains of my withdrawals are all but absent now. And for the main course, how about White Wind Elation? You must be fond of that one.
His light-hearted confidence seems like a front, as if he knows you better than he's letting on.
Task updated, the old crone. Maybe I'll have a quick look at that. How's that updated? The crone hasn't gone. She nags at you, bringing some intangible psychic distance. How about learning a spell to cast her out? Okay.
Would somebody please shut her up? This bloody stranger's already enough trouble. White Wind happens to be my favourite, but of course you already knew that. I know a little something about you, it's true, but it's part and parcel to my profession. I keep tabs on people who pique my interest. What is your profession exactly?
Let's say I look after Her Majesty's interests, with great vigour when they align with my own. At first his cryptic speech was alluring, but now it's plainly an annoyance.
How have you been tracking me? Wasn't all that difficult. You only have a few haunts. Yeah, on with it then. What else do you need to know?
That depends. Do you want the details or shall I summarise?
The details. Better know what I'm getting into.
I know about your life as a roughneck, which means a ruffian, and a panhandling mage, but what about before that? What about the Sacred Heart?
It was where
0% chance of persuading him of that.
It was where I grew up, before I looted the nun's coffer and took to the streets.
I gathered as much. What I'm not sure about is your parents.
I never knew my father, but I took him for dead, and I guess my mother couldn't afford to feed me. Sometimes I can remember what she looked like, but only in dreams.
As if through a pane of frosted glass, her face on a train departing.
And you never heard anything from the sisters about your parents? I can scarcely remember what day it is. How could I dredge up the past with any clarity?
Don't worry how clear it is. If the memory's there, we can call it back. There's a bit of the Sacred Heart that you seem to have forgotten, but if you can remember with the help of Auntie Emma,
another name for opium. It could lead us to your mother. You're saying she's still alive?
I found her name on a ledger at Sandthorn Asylum. As for your father, he was exiled and never seen again. There's no telling if he's still alive.
According to your harebrained theory, I suppose, this is the Lotus, not a bunco parlour.
Bunco means referring to a swindle or a setup, so it's... yeah, okay. Of course, it's just a theory until I match the names. I don't suppose you know your mother's family name.
Yeah, perhaps if I rack my brain, but I'm quite sure I never knew it.
I didn't think you would. But if your mother's name is on record at the Sacred Heart and it matches the Sandthorn ledger, then we have a chance to prove her identity and break her free.
I've forgotten all that for good reason. There was nothing but strife at the orphanage. Even if it's true, why should I want to find her?
Family ties are up to your discretion, of course, and I cannot share my own motivation for the truth.
I'd really like to know what his bloody aim is.
If you can think back to those troubling times, then you're worth more than the price on your head. Otherwise...
He's offering me a chance, but only if I can draw up those memories.
I can never force your hand, so what'll it be? The dream dose and a voyage between the banks of memory? Or the death dose and the end of all your days? I guess we take the dream dose. You take the stranger's offer, eager to lose touch with harsh reality, and for a chance to call back memories that could lead to your mother's whereabouts. Falling into an opium dream, the stranger's recent inquiries remind you of growing up at the Sacred Heart Orphanage. The end. For now. So there we go, that's the end of the demo. I just thought this was a really intriguing game in development, which I'm definitely going to be keeping a close eye on. I've wishlisted it, and as and when it's finally released, and it just is coming soon at the moment, so I don't think there's a definitive deadline on that currently. I'll probably be getting it and featuring on the channel. I just think it's good fun. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, then please do hit the like button on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. We're coming into October very shortly, and I've got some sort of spooky, creepy type games I'm planning to play on the channel throughout the month. So that should be a bit of fun, so please tune in for that as well. So bye for now, and I hope to see you again on Boring Dad Gaming. Bye for now.